Younger me used to believe that talent was something God-given, something that only a select few were lucky enough to possess. And I used to argue with my mom a lot about whether or not hard work could trump talent. It wasn't until I started reading the manga that would change my view on the concept of talent forever. And that manga is Blue Period. Spoiler warnings up ahead. If you haven't read the manga, I highly suggest you do. It's just really incredible. Growing up, I always thought it was so cool that certain people grasp things faster than others, especially in the academics. I was sent to this math tutoring thing when I was younger, where I met a ton of kids my age who were just way smarter than me, and they could understand and grasp these subjects just more efficiently than I could. Part of me was jealous because I also wish I could be like that. And because I tried to be like them for a little bit, my grades dropped a lot. I think the coolest thing about being talented to me as a youngin was people who didn't have to put in the effort but still got the results, which I guess is being nonchalant in this day and age. And the result of this mindset was that I really didn't respect people who were quote unquote tryhards. Funnily enough, I was also considered to have the gift for the violin, which was my first instrument I learned to play. When I was a kid, all my violin teachers used to tell my parents that I should pursue this thing for real because I had a natural aptitude. And it made me feel really good as a kid. It makes you feel special. But it also made me really lazy. I'm gonna keep it real. When you're told that as a child, you want to push everything to its upper limits. And so I abused my talents. I would go weeks without practicing just to see if my teachers could even notice. And the fact that they didn't just kind of reinforced my bad habits. But my laziness caught up to me eventually. My growth stunted. I plateaued because at a certain point, you can't get any better if you don't put in the time. And when I reached that point, I quit. The fact that my growth even stunted to begin with placed a seed of doubt in my head whether or not I was even gifted. Maybe my teachers lied to me so they could get more lessons out of my parents. Or maybe they were just trying to encourage me somehow. They just said this to everybody. I thought this way for about 8 years of my life, and so whenever somebody called me talented, I would quickly correct them and let them know I wasn't. Life can be so unpredictable, because even after all that, I decided to go to music school. It's also when I discovered the manga Blue Period, right around 2020 I think. My mindset had not shifted at this point. I was going into school thinking I was a talentless chud who had to put in 10 times the work as my peers because I didn't have the gift. So I had to become who I hated the most, a tryhard. That first year of school was tough. I went through a lot of the same things Yatoro goes through in his first year, where it's a lot of doubt, it's a lot of imposter syndrome. Do I belong here? I feel like all these other people know what they want to do, but I'm just kind of wandering. So it was really reassuring when I found the manga and I just instantly felt a connection with this character because it was so real. All the feelings they were going through were so visceral. And it makes sense because the author of this manga wrote this story from her perspective, her experiences. That's why they feel so inherently human. Every story beat of this manga connected with mine's. When Yatora is going to these cram schools to get ready for the auditions, and he thinks he's not going to make it because the school's just super hard to get into. I went through that too. I went through my auditions, going and applying to a school that was notoriously hard to get into, thinking that I wasn't going to get in, and that feeling of pure euphoria when you get that email, when you see your name on the board, that you made it into school, you made it into the program, that all your hard work paid off. And even still, when you get into the school and you see all these talented people around you and you feel so inadequate, all these experiences I had were being told through this manga. There's a few specific arcs though that really changed my perspective on talent. And the first one was when Yatora meets Takahashi. Takahashi, in short, he's a cheat code. He was born on planet Earth to draw. He has a natural aptitude. He's the prodigy. And Yatora goes through all the expected emotions: envy, jealousy, pure awe, But it's the way Takahashi views Yatora that really changed my perspective on what being talented really means. We're reading the story from the perspective of Yatoro. We get to hear his inner monologue, his inner thoughts, and we know that his true character is someone who's diligent and he works hard. But what Takahashi sees is a man who is obsessed, and to him, that is true talent. Yatoro's obsession had always been his talent. There's a quote from Yatoro's art teacher that goes, "It takes a talent to turn your passion into a job, but it takes just as much talent to keep it as a hobby." There's another character in this story that's really important. Her name is Mori. She's the person who inspires Yatora to draw to begin with. And she's kind of set as this pinnacle goal that Yatora is continuously chasing. He's not really thinking that he's chasing it, but in his mind, that's kind of the pinnacle. And he meets her again, and he's catching up with her, they're talking, and Mori just drops a bomb that she doesn't want to become an artist. She doesn't want to do this as a living. She wants to keep it just as a hobby. And this breaks Yatora's mind. Because to Yatora, she was talented. She was meant for this. She's supposed to draw. She's the reason why Yatora is doing all this. And I think that's when it really clicked with me. You can be as talented as you want. The people that really make it, the people that make this their livelihood, are the people that don't quit. But it takes a lot not to quit. You need to really love the thing you're doing. You need to be obsessed with it, so delusional with it. And that's exactly who Yatora is. And that's why he's considered talented. You see, those who are obsessed with what they do can't quit. It's not an option for them. They need to keep doing that thing in order to survive. Whether it be creating art, whether it be playing a sport, it doesn't really matter. Once you have that obsession, you can't get rid of it. I'd always thought that talent trumped hard work, but I'd never even considered that hard work itself was a talent. Whenever I read this manga, it just makes me think back on my own life experiences growing up as a musician. And I think about this one guy who played the violin with me, and a lot of people said I was way more talented than him, way more gifted. If I put in even a fourth of the work he did, I'd be better than him. But when I quit, that guy just kept getting better and better and better, and he eventually surpassed me. And I remember when that happened, my thought process was, well, I guess he was just more talented than me. I guess he just has the gift and I don't. But looking back, I obviously understand now that he just loved the violin, and I never truly loved playing the violin. I just did it because I was good at it. Yatora actually comes to terms with the fact that he actually might be gifted with obsession, and he takes that leap that he wants to be a professional artist and he wants to make a living doing art. I still do think it is probably easier for someone who has natural aptitude to become obsessed with something because you're naturally good at it, but perhaps everything is just relative to the individual. Either way, this manga really shifted the way I view talent and hard work, and it also helped me move past my insecurities as a musician and help me accept my gifts and talents. Reading over this script makes me think again about whether or not doing music and making content is what I really want to do. Am I obsessed enough to just keep trudging through until something works? And I guess only time will tell. So, if you like this kind of content, consider subscribing, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.